Hello out there, and welcome to Squirrel 9 News. I'm Leilani Q Newsworthy with Squirrel 9 News. We have some articles to present this evening in the world of cats and dogs, fun with food, electric vehicles of the future, and an innovation of the week, which we'll begin with right now. A new device puts music right in your ears without the use of headphones, said Louise Dixon in the Associated Press. The technology, called Soundbeamer, is straight out of a sci-fi movie. Using a 3D sensing module that locates and tracks ear positions, Israeli firm Novedo Systems devised a way to send audio via ultrasonic waves to create sound pockets by the user's ears. The effect is that the listener can feel completely transported, listening to music, phone calls, or video games without headphones, while others in the room don't hear a thing. The sound can even follow a listener around when they move their head. But moving out of the path of the sound beam means you'll hear nothing at all. So, that was from the world of innovations. And now we have, and there will be no commercial interruptions this evening. The newscast will just go straight through. Thank you. Everyone on Instagram seems to be done with building gingerbread houses from the holiday season, said Claire Lampin in NewYorkMag.com. This year's must-have miniature home is the Charcuterie Chalet, a tiny cabin constructed of cured meats and held together by soft cheese. I have no idea how we got here, but frankly, I do not need convincing. Each greasy cottage has its own charming details, and I can easily imagine the cabin I'll build for myself. Dried beef sticks for the log walls, exposed breadstick beams under a cheerful pepperjack roof, and a walkway graveled with bacon bits and trimmed with teeny cornichon hedges. Of course, the cheddar door will be adorned with a wreath of shaved jamon, and there will be a roaring Gouda fire in the pretzel hearth. Home, sweet meat, home. Here's a picture of one of the charcuterie chalets. So I guess we're done with gingerbread houses, at least for the holiday season. Now more food news. The beauty of a silent breakfast. When you can't find time to meditate, there's another way to quiet your mind. Eating breakfast in total silence, said Hillary Richard in the New York Times. When I first tried this ancient mindfulness practice, common to various monastic traditions, my mind revolted halfway through my granola. It was surprisingly difficult to direct all my attention to the food in front of me. I had a to-do list a mile long. I was deeply uncomfortable. Once my anxious brain wore itself out, though, I experienced an unusual feeling of freedom. And during subsequent breakfasts, I worked on being my own company, on treating myself like I'd treat a guest, on asking myself questions. But I never miss my quiet morning meal, because it's an effective way to start the day purposefully, calmly, and in gratitude. And I want to add, that's what we need more in these times. All right. Now with Zoom meetings, Zoom calls being so prevalent nowadays, here's an article for those cat owners out there with troublesome cats. Once again, I am Leilani Q Newsworthy with Squirrel 9 News. Thank you for joining us. How to tame a distracting cat. Cats don't care if you are in the middle of a Zoom meeting, said Tim Dowling in TheGuardian.com. Naturally curious, they just want to get involved in anything you're doing. Toys, puzzle feeders, and cat trees can help keep a bored feline occupied. But the next time your cat clambers over your keyboard, start training him or her, yes, You can train a cat to settle in a designated area on your desk. Place a small towel in a corner. Every time the cat jumps up, point to the towel using a word such as here or towel. Have a treat ready for positive reinforcement, and don't punish a cat that does dance on the keyboard. It probably thinks it's helping. Now continuing from the animal world, the dogs bred for wool. When one early group of humans reached North America some 11,000 years ago, they used dogs for hunting, pulling sleds, and according to a new study, wool. Researchers looked at more than 16,000 specimens of ancient canine bones discovered in the Pacific Northwest, reports the Times, UK. The bones all predated the arrival of Europeans, and almost all were found to be from two types of dogs, not from wild coyotes, wolves, or foxes. The first variety of dog was a tall, rangy canine that was likely used for hunting and hauling. The second, more common variety was much smaller, a shaggy, knee-high, Spitz-like dog. The researchers concluded that these fluffy pooches were probably sheared like sheep, with the wool spun into yarn and woven into blankets. Some historical accounts have hinted that Native Americans may have continued such practices into the 19th century. An 1828 journal entry from a Hudson Bay's Company trading post in British Columbia describes members of the Cowichan tribe traveling with dogs more resembling Cheviot lambs shorn of their wool. And this is one of those dogs. This is a dog with the caption, "Ready to be sheared." And our last two articles this evening, these last two stories, again continuing with cats. Catnip does more than get cats high. Interesting. It's no secret that cats love catnip. Present a kitty with a toy filled with the stuff, and the animal will rub it all over its face, run wild for a few minutes, and then collapse in a state of euphoria. But a new study suggests our feline friends get more than a buzz from catnip. The plant may also protect them from mosquitoes. Catnip and another plant, silver vine, contain iridoids, chemicals responsible for the ecstatic response in cats, reports the New York Times. For the study, researchers rubbed silver vine on the heads of house cats and exposed them to a swarm of mosquitoes. The insects feasted on the cats that hadn't been rubbed and snubbed those that had. The researchers say more research is needed to determine whether cats are attracted to catnip because of its mosquito repelling qualities, or if it's just a useful side benefit. Either way, lead researcher Masao Miyazaki from Iwate University in Japan says iridoids could potentially be used as a bug repellent for humans. To test the idea, Miyazaki slathered his arm with silver vine iridoids and held it in a cage full of mosquitoes. The insects didn't bite. Interesting. Food for thought. And in the world of electric vehicles, the auto industry, comes this story, my final story for this evening. Once again, I'm Leilani Q Newsworthy with Squirrel 9 News. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. GM wants to go carbon neutral by 2040. General Motors said last week it plans to end all production of petroleum-powered vehicles by 2035, said Neil Boudet and Coral Davenport in the New York Times, selling only vehicles that have zero tailpipe emissions and becoming carbon neutral by 2040. The announcement came days after President Biden signed several executive orders to address climate change, including one that reinstates tough auto fuel economy rules put in place during the Obama administration. GM now plans to spend $27 billion over the next 5 years to introduce 30 EVs, including an electric Hummer. And there you have it. From the world of news, I'm Leilani Q Newsworthy with Squirrel 9 News. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in our next report. Have a wonderful evening and a blessed tomorrow. Bye-bye.